Okay, shalom. Right, some very, very profound secret teachings are going to be revealed. So today is Hoshana Rabbah. This is the triumphal entry into Jerusalem by Yeshua. And the video is humble and riding on a donkey. Moshiach then and now. Let's go and have a look at this. Bring me on board. Shalom. So we've got this verse taken from Zechariah 9:9. It says, "Be exceedingly happy, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem." So Zion is related to Moshiach ben Yosef. Zion comes to, it's that same gematria as Yosef, 156. And Moshiach ben Dawid is related to Jerusalem. "Behold, your king shall come to you. He is just and victorious, humble and riding on a donkey, and a foal, the offspring of one of the she-donkeys." Okay, it's quite a mysterious verse. However, there's this in the Zohar, Ketetse, verse 4. It's very interesting. I did some teachings on this about the whole concept of the horse of the Moshiach. Did that quite a while ago, certainly over a year ago now. Some brilliant teachings to be learnt from this. However, I'm just wanting to tie it in because the gematria that I've got is actually related to some much more significant concepts we found in Zohar that we've got to battle against in order to reveal the whole concept of Moshiach and hence the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. So this is taken from Zohar. It says, "It's not the custom of the king and the matron to ride on a donkey. Hamor, namely the literal understanding Hebrew, Homer of the Torah, which is the wheat and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, as mentioned." So basically, we aren't just to have a literal interpretation of the Torah, the pshat level of the Torah, literal. Instead, they ride on horses, the secret and the mysteries of the Torah, which we've got to try and reveal. The entire secret in the dimension is the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef, who came riding on a donkey. Then we've got to elevate that whole experience up. We've got to, within this whole Edomite exile, what we've experienced 2,000 years, we've got to reveal the secret inner meaning of the Torah. Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, fulfilling his Torah in a very secret way throughout the 2,000 years of Edomite Israel. We've got to yoke them together, the concept of Moshiach ben Yosef and Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh fulfilling his Torah, because that reveals the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh within the letter of the Torah and out with through the entire of history. This is the meaning of "you ride upon your horses, your chariots of salvation." Okay, so Yeshua, that should be in there somewhere. I can't actually find the Moshiach. Right. Anyway, we'll get to that. "Riding upon your chariots of salvation," Habakkuk 3:8. It's not staring me in the face. Let's see, just go on a little bit more. Hamor. Yisrael. Susia. Dilea Knesset Yisrael. Okay, I'll just leave that for now. I might come back to that. So, this is the meaning of "you ride upon your horses, your chariots of salvation. For Malkuth is not treated lightly so as to have the queen ride on a donkey. And even more so the king. For it is no place for commoners and servants. That is Metatron. That is called a commoner and a servant. This is the angel who guides you through exile, because you've been really exiled from the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, so you've got something there instead, representing or standing in the gap. Until we elevate ourselves up to be made aware of the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, nothing else beside him. For Malkuth is not treated lightly so as to have the queen ride on a donkey, and even more so the king, for it is no place for commoners and servants. That is Metatron, that is called commoner and servant, whose way is to ride on a donkey. That is why it says of Messiah, when Yisrael will have no merit, humble, ani, and riding upon a donkey, which is this verse here from Zechariah 9:9. Ani, the initial letters, Ayin, Nun, Yod, stands for the Mishnah orders of Erevim, Nida, and Yevamot. Okay, the initials of which form an E-Paw. The rest of the orders of the Mishnah are comprised of these, which indicate that as long as one does not know the mysteries of the Torah, but only the revealed Torah, one is poor in knowledge and riding upon a donkey. So the first time Yeshua came, you see, nobody knew the mysteries. They weren't revealed, because the mysteries, the secret and meaning of the Torah has been revealed for the last 2,000 years. So it came at the beginning, and you know, the triumphant entry into Jerusalem, there was acting as if it was Hoshana Rabbah, because they had date palms out. You know, this is the symbol of Hoshana Rabbah, the great salvation. They thought it was then. And this was during Pesach, by the way. The Hoshana Rabbah occurs in Sukkot, like the time that we are now. It's all premature. It was all telling us where we are actually at. We don't know the inner meaning of the Torah, because we haven't yet seen the name of Yoteh while we fulfill his Torah according to his will. We haven't experienced the 2,000 years of Moshiach. So then he was riding on a donkey, he's coming on a horse. Because really, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, blessed is he who comes in the name of Yoteh Waheh. He's going to, the whole 2,000 years of Moshiach ben Yosef being in exile with us, he's going to reveal the name of Yoteh Waheh and unite it to the name as revealed in the Torah. Why? Because the entire experience of Moshiach ben Yosef in this Edomite exile, the entire history, 2,000 years of history, is going to be yoked to the Torah of Moshe, which is a name of Yoteh Waheh revealed within the letter of the Torah, yoked to the name of Yoteh Waheh revealed above the letter of the Torah through the life of Moshiach Yeshua, and all that's happened within the Edomite exile as a result of him coming as Moshiach ben Yosef. Poor at first and riding on a donkey because we were without merit, and then when we come at the end, we know the secret and the meaning of the Torah. We know exactly what Yoteh Waheh has been doing to fulfill the Torah of Moshe. We will not be poor in the end. We will be in full knowledge of the name of Yoteh Waheh. We will not be poor and not knowing, lacking in knowledge, just because we've just got the literal interpretation of the Torah. Or, you know, what was accomplished through Yeshua. It's the entire secret dimension of the Torah. It's the hidden name of Yoteh Waheh at the level of Yechida. Okay, so power in knowledge and riding upon donkey, which is an aspect of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This is in a place where we are not attached to the name of Yoteh Waheh, you know, and we're not until we get to full maturity, until we be able to comprehend the secret and the meaning of the Torah. The name of Yoteh Waheh is revealed through the teachings of Yeshua. Holy and blessed be he is not considered a king until he rides on his horse, which is the congregation of Yisrael, namely Malkuth, according to the secret of I compare you, O my love, to a mare, the chariots of Pharaoh, which is wholly good without any evil. The only opportunity that we have to be wholly good is to perceive that that's wholly good, to see that hidden light that is only good. Okay, the hidden light or agnus. Through that we're able to see and perceive there's only Yoteh Waheh and everything is ultimately good. Right, so let's go and have a look at this, because there's things that stand in our way regarding this, and the Gematria points some really important stuff out, by the way. I'm only going to be looking at very brief Gematria because it's a Hoshana Rabbah. I'm actually going out to celebrate with some friends. It's also Shabbat coming up, so I can't, there's so many things I'd like to go over. I can't go over it all, it will be another lesson. Humble and riding on a donkey in a fall. We're looking at this number here because it brings up some other connection to a very, very major thing that we've been contending with for 2,000 years. 89 is the ordinal for Yetzirah, evil inclination. This is why we're battling with all the forces of Edom in order to subdue our evil inclination to the side of holy, so that we'll be only good. So it was a delight. Okay, it was a delight. If we take, this is one of the fillings out of it. It was delight 712. When it's filled with a Hevi filled with a Yod and the Vav filled with a Yod, so the highest level of Atziluth was 712, exactly the same as humble and riding on donkey. Tahawahu, it was a delight to the eyes of Eve. That's why she ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil in the first place. That's put us in this situation where we're eating the wheat the literal interpretation of the Torah without fully understanding its secret inner meaning of the Torah, because we'd be detached from the tree of life, which is the secret inner meaning of the Torah. Okay. So it was a delight. Why? This is actually 424, Moshiach ben Dawid. She was able to perceive something in the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that maybe took her from a back-to-back situation, is what she was in with Adam, to a face-to-face ultimately, that we will have with Moshiach ben Yosef, face-to-face, Adam and Eve face-to-face. And this is the process of rectification. This is all to do with Moshiach, by the way. This triangular number 327 is the ordinal of Moshiach ben Yosef, the ordinal of Moshiach ben Dawid, and the ordinal of Moshiach ben Ephraim added together. It's also connected to the mezuzah. I've done teachings about that before. So this is linked to this, okay, where we need, because we've been detached from the tree of life, it would appear, because this is the history that we've been living, that we need the concept of the Moshiach in order to elevate us back up, or we need to attain the level of Moshiach in order to elevate ourselves back up, to overcome the consequences of eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay. We need the concept of the Moshiach, because the concept of Moshiach ultimately reveals the sovereignty and authority of the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. But ultimately it's all about Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. And then we've got this two connections here, haven't we? We've got connected to here, it was a delight, connected to here also, and then obviously connected to here. So it was a delight, and then we've got this word litrof tref. Okay, that might not seem significant to people, but twice it's mentioned about trof tref Yosef, or ach trof tref, surely he has been torn to pieces. It's talking about, he appeared to Yaakov as if Yosef was torn to pieces. So it was an illusion. Okay, it was an illusion. I had an inspiration about this actually, what the brothers' intentions were, because we've got to start to interpret the entire reality on the side of favour and good, you know, and we've got to be advocates. And I was thinking, you know, they must have known that Joseph was special, he had a special light, but also that light is not easy to be revealed in and of itself. It needs to, you know, in this reality, it's got to its opposite force, hasn't it? And I wonder at one level whether they're able to perceive how would this light of Yosef best manifest itself? How would his greatness be best revealed? Okay, when you go put that light and let it contend against all the forces of evil, such as Egypt. You know, it's in that crucible, you know, that crucible of testing, that light comes to its own, you know, just as it was with Joseph. I mean, he was able to take over the entire of Egypt. This is the power of the light of Moshiach ben Yosef, this perfect aspect of Adam before he fell. We've all got a share in that. So, you know, this light doesn't find expression in this world unless it's battled against all the forces of evil and magic and darkness, and yet reigns as a consequence. And so too Yeshua. He's had to go into the Edomite exile and get dressed up in all the layers of idol worship. Every single gods and myths of the nations, he's been dressed up in that for 2,000 years. And only those that know what's hidden under all those layers, that light that's within. And only those that would care to perceive that light would find it hidden in all that. Because for the most part, you would look away. Okay? Unless you are determined to have nothing but the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh before you always, then you have to look away from everything that appears not to be that name. That you have limited that name. There's nowhere in this world we shouldn't be able to look, in the deepest, darkest forms of idolatry, and not see his name, because we are commanded to have no other gods before us. So unless we convert the entire of this reality into a revelation of his name, we've got another God before us. This is not easy to do. You have to have absolute faith as only Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, nothing else beside him. And then you can look in all the dark corners of this world and see him, not another God. Because you've got to be zealous for his name. If you aren't zealous for his name, the whole world will be filled with darkness and evil. And if this is intolerable to you because you know there's only him and nothing else beside him, you will look till you find. You will look into all those dark places because you cannot tolerate the fact that there would be something other than him. This is why we've got to be zealous for his name. Then going back to his brothers, this is where we've got to start to see everything is good. Because not only did Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh had a good plan, but somehow within us all we have got this awareness, subconscious awareness of that name. And we are making subconscious decisions based on that subconscious awareness of his name and his authority and his sovereignty, and nothing else beside him. So what did his brothers do? Sell him out with some kind of bitterness and envy? Or did they know? Okay, so he's got something about him that needs to find expression in this world, and the only way is in the crucible of Egypt. Likewise Yeshua, Moshiach ben Yosef, only battling all those forces of idolatry, Catholicism, Greek philosophy, all the dark corners. I mean, literally uncharted territory, literally jungles, literally going into all the dark corners of the world. And yet it's with that challenge, in that disguise, that light has become manifest in this world, and it will be revealed that the power and the accomplishment that's occurred through that, i.e. Carrying that inner light of the name Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, as he's been fulfilling his Torah, the Torah of Moshiach, throughout this entire 2,000 years. In the meantime, Tref Yosef is surely turned to pieces. Doesn't look like there's a Hebrew man even alive anymore. But that light is alive in this world. It's hidden, it's disguised, but it's there. And we've got to start to connect to that. We've also got to start to connect to the good deeds that have been accomplished by all the Christians in the world, because that is what got us out of Egyptian slavery. It was Moshe saying to Joseph, petition God with all the good deeds that you have done. This caused the bones of Joseph to be raised up, and only with the bones of Joseph next to the ark containing the stone tablets were we able to get out of exile. The two needed to be united together. What Joseph had accomplished in exile and all the good deeds through him, plus the testimony of Moshe, the Torah of Moshe, united together. This is our way out of exile. It was then, so it is now. So there's all these links to it. We've got to overcome the fact that we ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's all connected. For the Lord our God, it is He who brought us brought us and our for the Lord our God, it is He who brought us and our fathers up from the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage, and who performed these great signs in our sight. So the Mispar Gadol ordinal of that is 712. So we've got the connection. Okay, we want in out of Edomite exile. But it takes Edomite exile to reveal the light of Moshiach ben Yosef that reveals the authority and sovereignty of the name Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. Okay, it's all for good. Because once we have full faith in the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, through being able to see just what Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh has been doing through this exile, it will give us that total, complete faith in Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, and that is why we are here. We're being rectified to have complete, total faith in the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, and it's when we start to see these things revealed to us that our faith increases and is perfected. But this is what stands in our way, isn't it? And this is what's linked to that whole concept of Esav representing the gods of Esav, representing the foreskin that Yesod, Yosef, is covered in. Yesod is the male anatoma, is a foundation of the world. Righteous, the Sadiq is a foundation of the world. Is at the moment it's covered in Esav like foreskin. Esav's equivalent to a foreskin. It's like Yaakov dressed up as Esav in order to receive the blessing. So Yosef's dressed up as Esav in order to receive the blessing. what is the ultimate blessing and revelation of the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. It's all for that end. There's no other thing that is going to be accomplished except a revelation of the name of Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh, because that's what we have been created to receive, and that's what he desires to bestow upon us. It's the ultimate good, isn't it? A revelation of himself, literally himself. Literally, not just a revelation, not just a thought, not just a word to us. Literally, his presence will be bestowed upon us. Part of an aspect of his absolute, complete, infinite essence is what he desires to give us. Some of himself, his own goodness, that is himself, because there's only he that's good. He desires to literally bestow upon us himself. We have been prepared to receive that. So something stands in the way, the ox that is warned, this thrice God. So an ox that goes 3 times, it's from the filth of the uncircumcised other side. So it's all connected to Joseph being garbed up in Asaph, that represents the foreskin that needs to be circumcised. Okay. I'm going to read some Zohar about this, so I will come back, but there's some very interesting, powerful, demonic names I've got to be aware of. Shar-Mo'ad, the ox that is warned. So this is a very demonic power. It says, the ox that thrice God, the filth of the membrane, Yosef pushed aside the ox of the other side. So Yosef is considered a holy ox. He comes against this filth, this this filth of the membrane. He's talking about the membrane on the yesod. He's talking about the foreskin. That's the membrane it's talking about. Yosef's got to push that away. And there's a name, however, involved in this ox that is warned. It says the name of a demonic force from the ox that gores, the unholy ox, and the donkey Asaph. And then you've got the Yosef, it's the holy ox, and the donkey of the Moshiach, the holy aspect of the donkey that Moshiach rides upon. Got to come against the forces of the other side. And also Yishmael is part of Asaph. He's part of the nations, and he's likened to an ass as well, isn't he? Like a donkey. So this is a very demonic name. We'll look at it though. Shehiyah and ruin. Well, it's not and ruin, it's just ruin. When it's written in Isaiah, I think it's Shehiyah. We'll go and have a look at the Zohar. It's this name, Shehiyah. It's the name of a very powerful demonic force. Okay, so look at the Gematria. 316, 37 comes to 353. Exactly the same as Yeshu. The name that Moshiach ben Yosef is cursed with. This is the power of the thrice God ox. Okay, so all the time we're in exile, this name has dominion over Yosef. He's got to overpower this demonic force, this demonic membrane, this filth of the uncircumcised other side. This is not the truth. This is the concealment that hides the light of Moshiach ben Yosef. Exactly the same, ordinal and regular. 353. We'll have a look at that in another lesson. I can't go through it, but we can also see here the square ordinal plus the ordinal comes to 604. If we add the 4 letters, Shehiyah comes to 608. So linked up to Trif Lit Rof Tref, which it's this really, to attack prey. Trof Tref Yosef and Ach Trof Tref, surely he has been torn to pieces. This is what Yaakov utters. Trof Tref Yosef, surely Yosef has been torn to pieces, and Ach Trof Tref, I think that's what it is. Is this Trof Tref like is like treif meat? It's linked to the concept of treif meat. He's not kosher, in other words. He's been torn to pieces, like we're not allowed to eat torn meat. It's just not kosher. So this has been presented, Yeshua has been presented as treif, unkosher meat we're not allowed to eat. Give it to the Gentiles or whatever. You know, it's not the truth that conceals. He wasn't torn to pieces. It was a Hebrew who was sold. There was intention for it. We have to start to understand, however, like going back to advocacy, were they aware of how this light would best be expressed? Yeshua It's the same with Yeshua. His light needed to be expressed by being the very force to overcome the filth of this circumcision. Okay? He was created for that purpose. He needed to actualize that potential in some way. It looks horrible on the surface, but is it? Because ultimately it reveals the name of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. So all this works for good. Even the fact that he had his name erased, Yimach Shemo V'Zikro. This is what Yeshu stands for. Yimach Shemo V'Zikro. May his name and his memory be erased. And it was. And it's for us to reveal that name and his memory for good, because of what he's accomplished, i.e. a revelation of the absolute authority and sovereignty of the name Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, fulfilling his Torah for 2,000 years in utter perfection. The fiercest battle. So King David sent Uriah to the fiercest part of the battle. There's maybe some rectification for that involved in Joseph going into Edom, because he's been literally sent to the fiercest part of the battle in the entire, I'm talking about the entire demonic realm. The ox, that god, is the fiercest, most powerful demonic force, and represented by this name, the most powerful demonic force. Joseph's got to fight against the force of evil that conceals him, the name Yeshu. It's the fiercest battle to overcome that delusion in order to transform that conceals into that reveals. And then this is the other, isn't it? What did he say? You will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. Until we do the work of revealing the truth, the hidden reality of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, acting through the soul of Moshiach ben Yosef through 2,000 years, we won't even be able to comprehend what he meant by that. It's all about revealing the name. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. And we say that during the Hallel, during all the days of Sukkoth. But it's particularly relevant to Sukkoth. It's all wonderful stuff, but we won't see him again until we understand the purpose of his descent into Edomite exile, to go battle against these absolute forces of evil and darkness, to reveal the power of his own light, his own perfection, that reveals the name of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh through that. So this comes to 713. We've got a link to the ruin. We've got a link to the 713 because it's 712 plus a kalal plus an aleph. The aleph is the concealment, isn't it? The aleph conceals, but it's also the place where it's transformed into revelation. So as you can see, that is related. 713 is 112 plus a kalal. So if we add a kalal to this, it comes to 713. This is the holy rectification, isn't it? When we completely and totally understand Baruch haba b'shem Adonai, when we recognize what his purpose for being is, and what he has been accomplishing, and what Yod-Heh-Wav has been accomplishing through him for 2,000 years, then we can say, can't we, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai? It's not magic, it's knowing, it's knowledge of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, it's understanding, it's the secret dimensions of the Torah that elevate us up from the Moshiach who came originally riding on a donkey to the king who comes at the end riding on his horse, as a king deserves to ride on a horse, and in doing so also the king over kings of kings. You know, Moshiach is king over kings. Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh is king over kings of kings. And when we elevate the Moshiach, who's the king over kings, up, we're going to be elevating the king over kings of kings up to his rightful place also. Let's just have a look at this Zohar. It's very interesting. Just wait a minute. So this is, alright, that's the Aramaic. This is the concept of the donkey. This is the concept of the forces that we are fighting against, and it's also connected to that aleph. You know, it says, I said an aleph. So it's a very interesting Zohar here. It says, Rabbi Ila'i opened the discussion saying, you shall be perfect. Yeshua said these same words. So this whole concept of him coming from the perfect aspect of Adam, that he inspires us to be perfect. Perfect in what way? perfect in imitating the name of Yahweh, Emeth in truth. Be perfect with Hashem your Elohim. That's from Devarim 18:13. He asks, what is the difference between Tam, perfect, and Tamim, perfect? He responds, because Abraham was called Tamim, Yaakov was called Tam. He responds, by Abraham it is written, walk before me and be perfect. Tamim, Bereshith 17:1. By Yaakov, who was more perfected, it is written, and Yaakov was plain, a plain man, a Tam man, Ish Tam. Why was he called a perfect man, since no refuse was left in him? We're talking about the uncovering of the membrane. He's fully circumcised. As the uncovering of the membrane at circumcision was performed on him. Okay. So he was perfect, but he had to, at some point, in order to get the blessing that had been given to Esau, who was the firstborn, he had to go get dressed up as Esau. So he had to literally, look like the one who was not circumcised. He was, obviously would have been circumcised, but Esau represents the foreskin. That's what I'm trying to get over. And somehow Joseph also, in order to get all the blessings, the physical blessings that were bestowed on Esau, the firstborn, he had to get dressed up as Esau. He had to be foreskinned up, the yesod, the male anatomy, foreskinned up, and he's got from within to move that membrane that's linked to the concept of the ox. Got to be perfected, because he is perfect. Moshiach ben Yosef is perfect from the perfect aspect of Adam. He inquires, how did he perform that membrane uncovering become cleansed from that refuse? He responds, that area that strengthens the refuse within, which exists where the membrane is, the foreskin is an ox, which is the left image of his throne. For in the chariot of the throne are the face of the lion to the right and the face of the ox to the left. The ox, so the lion of Yehuda, the ox of Yosef. The ox that is referred to as an ox that has not God, Tam. So I think it's short, Tam. Since there exists an impression of that covenant of circumcision in the chariot of that throne. So it's all mystical stuff. Therefore this ox is called an unblemished ox, and also the gematria of pouring riding on a donkey is definitely connected to the concept of the works of Bereshith and the works of creation. The gematria is the same. I can't do that in this lesson though. Therefore this ox is called an unblemished ox. Yaakov is connected with it and with this ox, which is Yosef. He has performed the membrane uncovering, and has removed the soil of that refuse entirely. So to Yosef. And this is the ultimate Esav, isn't it? The entire 70 nations. The entire gods, the filth of the nations, the gods of the nations, the Elohim that we wrestle through the night of exile in order to reveal our true name, Yisrael, that's striven with man and God. The forces of these false gods to reveal that there's only Yahweh and nothing else beside him. Be zealous for this reality, be zealous to reveal his name. And like I say, we've got to transform all the false gods into his name. In the Beraita of Betzalel, it is written, and Elohim remembered Rahel from Bereshith 30:22. He inquires about Sarah. It is written, visited, as in, and Hashem visited Sarah. But about Rachel it is written, remembered. Why? He responds, remember, which is the secret of Yesod, is impressed upon Yaakov, who was a complete covenant when Joseph was born. How was this perfect covenant achieved? It is when he took to him the ox that assails the other side, which assails and destroys the soil, the refuse of the ox, that God thrice that dwells within that membrane to be removed, as mentioned nearby. Therefore Joseph is referred to as the firstling of his herd. Devarim 34:17, meaning the ox is firstborn that Yaakov took and pushed aside that ox of the other side, which is the ox that God thrice. We are in the process of this rectification now. And Moshiach ben Yosef, guised up as all the gods of the nations, is somehow accomplishing that, and this is taken 2,000 years, the era of Moshiach, in order to accomplish that. And this is Hoshana Rabbah, and these words should bring about a great salvation for all of us when thoroughly revealed, to elevate us up from riding on a donkey to riding on a horse, from not being able to have the knowledge to perceive the name of Yahweh, to be fully aware of the secret in a dimension of the Torah that fully reveals the name of Yotei Wauhei, and gives us complete Amunah. And with that we'll say Shalom.